Very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to Amnesty and also being in front of the building to try to bring attention to the plight of Ahwazis in Iran. So I'm Hasiba Tahrawi and I'm Deputy Director of the Middle East and North Africa Program, and I oversee the work on Iran. I'm assuming you're quite familiar with the work we have been doing on Ahwazis. It's on discrimination, albeit on the death penalty, where we believe that members of ethnic minorities are also targeted, and you have a larger number of minority members being sentenced to death compared to non-minorities. And but I'd like to hear from you some of the concerns you have to raise, and also some of the requests you might want to make to Amnesty International.
Thank you. Sorry. Well, first of all, all these people who are here are member of or can represent one group of our Ahwazi people, parties, and each of us have or human rights organization or political parties. So we are representing our parties and our organizations. And we believe that human rights have taken some actions, numbers of actions to support Ahwazi people, especially the people who are arrested, who are executed by the Iranian regime. But we think that it is not enough, and we need more action. And especially what's happening right now in Ahwaz, the air pollution and the drying of all the rivers and drying the marshland make the Ahwaz the most polluted city in the world. And we believe that it is part of human rights. To have clean air, to have clean water is part of the human right. So we expect, or we urge the Amnesty International to take urgent action against what's happening in Ahwaz. And the poverty in Ahwaz right now is increased. That just 2 days ago, one Ahwazi have burned himself in front of the in Al-Muhammara, just because of poverty, because they have destroyed his what do you call it? His kiosk. Yeah, his kiosk. Just he was working with, and they destroyed it, and he burned himself. And this happened also in 2011 and 2012. Every year we have this kind of event happening in Ahwaz. So we expect the Amnesty International to take urgent action against, especially against the environmental situation of the Ahwaz, because just last month the Ahwaz was polluted for 10 days, and the pollution became 60,000 more than the normal situation. So we try to explain a bit in this letter, but it's not enough. It's just small, giving you some information in this letter to let you know about what ask you to take urgent action again. Some other people, please. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. I would like to add on my friend Abdurrahman. The situation in Ahwaz now, it's every day getting worse and worse. Few issues, environmental and the unemployment and poverty, and also the situation of the diseases, i.e. the pollution, is getting worse and worse. The World Health Organization, as mentioned by my friend and also earlier, announced for the third year that Ahwaz city is the most polluted city in the world.
from the World Health.
WHO.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
And that's due to?
that's due to the oil industrial companies in the region. The Ahwaz region is rich in oil, as it conserves more than 80% of the Iranian oil revenue. But the indigenous Ahwazi Arabs, they only suffer from the smoke, air pollution, and high rates of unemployment. And the environment organization of the Iranian authority, unfortunately, neglect in taking any action, any serious action, to stop or even compensate these air pollution causes to the native people there. In addition to that, people suffer from very high rates of unemployment. That's very recent and very fresh example, as my friend mentioned 2 days ago, an Ahwazi Arab called Yunus Asakara. He set himself alight because of the security forces confiscated his kiosk, the only source of his income for his family. And
what was the reason why
the reason? Because he had only one kiosk to sell fruits in the street, in the city of Muhammara. The Iranian regime called it Khurramshah. This is another, just to mention that. And he just wanted to say that this is the only source of income. Why did you take or you stopped me to work here? And the security forces unfortunately confiscated his only the kiosk, and he just complained about that, and he set himself alight. And the situation of the Yunus in critical now, it's more than I think 70% of the burden in his body, and with the neglect of the hospital care and all sorts of things. That's very fresh example I can give you. People there, they suffer from very high rate of unemployment because the Iranian regime tried to employ from non-local people from different provinces. We really appreciate the work that has been done by the Amnesty International. We really fully alert and watching and observing reports by the Amnesty International, and it is really appreciated by the Ahwazi Arab community that you are one of the real voices represent these crisis against the humanity, environmental crisis. The cancer rate is very high, and it's raised by 500 times. It's the actual figure they put under. They are against the God, and also they would be described as disturbing the national security of the country. So the government tried to put a label on them so that would be easy for the government, for the regime to execute them. And other main issue is
basically what are they charging them with?
they charge with the they against the national security of the state, and also working against God, because the state is Islamic Shia.
And they know the muharaba.
The muharaba.
It's becoming common, in the the law. And to mention it's muharaba in the English even.
It's become very famous in the English kind of reports and all sorts of things. Another issue which is very important, our people, our Ahwazi Arabs, and other non-Persian nations in Iran, always they demand to have the right to implement the right for to have education in their mother language. This is very important issue. Unfortunately, the state laws says that all people from non-Persian speaker, they have right to speak to the education in their own languages, but they never ever implemented the law, and people still suffer from very high dropout from schools, and more than 70% of the Ahwazi Arabs school children, they have dropout because they can't understand the language, because the language is not their language. You see what I mean? And other thing is, all cultural activists, whenever they wanted to make gathering or events for social activities or poems or all sorts of things, they have been banned by the Iranian authority. One very good example, that in 2014, February, two poets, Hashim Shaban,
Hashim Rashidi and
Hadi Rashidi and Shabani, they both were poets, and they both were cultural activists. But the Iranian authority again used the concept of muharaba, or war against God, or disturbing the national security. They put them in prison, and at the end of the period, they executed them in February 2014. Many NGOs, many international organizations reflected the execution, but the Iranian authority never ever admitted that was against the humanity, against the international law. The execution is still carried out by the Iranian authority against the Ahwazi Arabs, also other non-Persian nations in Iran. Iran population is more than 50 or 60% are non-Persian nations, like Ahwazi Arabs, Turkish, Azeris, Baluchis, Kurdish, and they never ever get their rights, and also they still suffer from persecution, ethnic cleansing. Our people suffering from ethnic cleansing. In our land, we don't have right to raise an issue like just to present environmental or other issues. Lots of things we can talk about it, but I really appreciate it. Also, my friends here, if we can be in contact, we can give you more reports, detailed reports, and very recent also, for you and your colleagues to look at. And also, if you like more information, we are more happy to help you with.
Contain a lot of information about the region. Basically, as in addition of what our colleague, they mentioned something regarding the Iranian, systematic ethnic cleansing. It started, since 1925, when they occupied, al-Ahwazi in 1925, which was last leader of the Arab region in Ahwazi, Sheikh Azal. This, the regime started, to transfer people to the north of Iran. But this, this systematic as a part of Iranian government, not, Iranian government. When I'm talking about the Iranian government, they've got systematic, agenda against, especially Ahwazi Arab since 1925. But this policy hasn't been, succeed, to be honest, because, in terms of, Ahwazi Arab population is growing up day by day or year by year, you can say. And this, the Iranian regime, they change, this strategy, and the current regime, they continue the agenda that's been established at that time, before 1979. Now, have a look to the Iranian regime. The Islamic regime, when they took over in 1979, the first thing they started, I'm not talking about, they killing or executing, so many Ahwazi Arab for the different reason, for nothing, because they are saying, because we want to talk in our language. For example, what they started, They started land, confiscation. They started, which is it has been succeed by, and they start to move people from the middle of Iran, from the Yazd to our region. It's called, still we have area. It's called Yazdano. Yazdano, because this is Yazdano. They bring people from Yazd to live there to confiscate land of Ahwazi indigenous Arab people. But it hasn't been succeed because in terms of hot weather at that time, they couldn't continue to live over there. Anyway, this continue, that's the Iranian regime that got systematic, ethnic cleansing against Ahwazi Arab. So day by day, year by year, they're using, different way to, demolish or to change, demographic of the, region. Well, I'm talking about the land confiscation. I'm talking about the poverty. I'm talking about a drug, which it's by Iranian regime, but even by the police of Iran in Al-Ahwaz, they are distributing all that a drug which is come from the that's under direction of Iranian Revolution Guard. They are trading these kind of things not only in our region, even have you heard about it now? They as a part of Iranian they exporting so many drugs even outside of as a part of Iranian regime policy anyway. But in our region, that's they try. For example, alcohol. If they catch our people with the alcohol, that's they will send you about 1 year sentence. They issue about one. But those people who they're using a drug, in just about 24 hours they let them go. They discharge them because they want those people. They want those young people to be more addicted to the drugs. So this is long. A friend of us, they mentioned so many regarding environmental issue, which is disaster at the moment. We've got it. Because they dry all the river, they transfer and diverted all the rivers. The main, the main core of those rivers being diverted to the Isfahan from the main core exactly. Now we have more very famous river, 5 rivers. Now they are dry. So where is it going? Go to all this water, going to the Marshall. Marshall is getting dry now. And all that by any wind, by anything, it's become disaster. And even in 1 meter, you can see in the front of you. That's now the situation I was. And we print out so many pictures from inside just to show, and we've sent them to human rights organization. We send them down. Now I'm talking to you, and we've got a friend that was there in Geneva. They represented as a part of human rights activities to show this one to Ahmed Shahid. And I'm talking to you now, and they've got at least about 2 hours ago they have a meeting with Ahmed Shahid and show them all that the disaster and what's going on in our region. So it's that's what we would like to mention. What we would like we need action from Amnesty International to mention the Ahwazi case, mention that disaster to to all another human rights organization to discuss, to issue a statement, to issue a report regarding what's going on in our region. Before there is no any media to reflect what's going on. But now, in terms of the technology, there is everything is possible, and we are ready to hand over whatever you mention to us. We are ready to from the part of the environmental, from the part of, and we have people in the prison, how they are suffering, what they are suffering in the prison at the moment. So we can let you talk to them even straight away. So that's how there is possibility to mention so many things for about unfortunately there is there is no in terms of our activities. It's the world has been diverted to some issue what's going on in Syria. But the problem is to be honest, it's our case. It's you can say as a high level of ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, this was part of what we can talk for a long time.
Yeah,
one day completely, but it hasn't. We can't finish what's happening. We can't explain what's happening on the ground in Ahwaz, because what's happening on the ground in Ahwaz is more than what we are saying. It's more than what we are saying. People suffering from, people mentioned a lot of fact that happening in Ahwaz, especially with the disease that increase, especially the cancer and the child problem, the breathing problem and heart problems. All of them, as Ali mentioned, we believe that it is systematically done by the regime, not just all of a sudden it's happened. No, it's by regime, because when they build 40 dam on 3 rivers, nowadays, the dams, based on according to the expert, it's not commercially, no environmentally, and no, politically, it's not accepted. They should have all over the world. They destroy the dam and build small dams. They build a lot of dams, and 40 dams on 3 rivers. And now they have 176. We mentioned in the letter 176 dams under their survey. And they, under the construction, they have, I think, more than 35 dams. So they want to stop, kill actually the Ahwazi people, because when the agriculture had been destroyed, the people in the villages had no choice. They had to move from the villages to the cities, or to slum of the cities, and the cultural, political, and lot of problem Ahwaz people face based on what's happening to them. Yeah, please.
We know we had very kind of long conversation now, but we don't want you to. But just one point I would like to add: unfortunately, the human rights accusation in Iran, especially in our area, in Ahwaz, or also other regions, disadvantaged because of the nuclear enrichment negotiation between Iranian Authority and the West. And unfortunately, there is no place for highlighting the human rights accusation because of the West and the governments here try to reach a point agreement between Iran and Minsk, but they not saying ignoring, but neglecting the human rights accusation, what's happening inside Iran, especially in our area in Ahwaz. And we suffer a lot. We mentioned lots of points just now, and as I said, that the political things or other issues against the us as Arabs to highlight, to represent our issues. This is very important to mention that, and your voice, your stage is very important to help us to represent these issues because it's very important if such statements, such calls from Amnesty International represent these issues, and all people around the world watch the Amnesty International, what they say. They trust the reports have been published by the Amnesty International because it's based on actual facts, based on what's happening in the regions, especially in our region. So I don't want to keep talking. We, as I said, we're quite happy to be in contact in the future whenever you would like. And my friend kindly, he prepared this report. There are lots of reports we can give you in future by email or things like that. I would be so happy if you can give me
Yes, نسويها
This
بس
is
هذا عايز
أنا أزيدا في الشيء أنا أولا نشكرهم على استقبالهم لهنا زين، والثاني أريد في الشيء من عندنا إحنا كلنا على قضيتنا زين، كما دعموا الشعب السوري يعني دعم قوي بالندواتهم، حتى أنا شاركت بهم قبل سنتين ترافيكال سكوير، يعني حتى من طريق من تحت النظر هاي منظمة العفو الدولية صور لهم شو اسمه هذا الخيمة وستيت ويعني شاشة كبيرة ودعمه قوي، يعني عندهم كانوا اجوا مصورين اعلامهم قوي، يا ريتهم يقومون بالواجب على هاي قضيتنا المظلومة الحل، يعني سكوت عنها القضية، يعني
صح
دمار شعبنا، يعني دمار على كل شيء، ماكو رحم هناك، يعني ماكو فالشيء باسم شبه رحمة في الإيران موجود.
يعني اللي انا بس اوصل
بس اريد ان واحد ندواتهم يسوون ندوات تحت نظرهم، يسوون ميتينجات، يسوون يعني اي شيء يقدروا يسوون على القضيه، يحركون قضيتنا بقوه سترونج.
حاضرين يعني احنا متى هذا الاشياء اللي اذا كان بدات هذه الموافقه من حضرتك طبعا طروحها جدا جيده، اذا كان نقدر احنا في المستقبل في امكانيه نساعدكم في هذا المجال طبعا احنا موجودين ونقدر نساعد بالعده وبالناس وبالمن يقف ونبرمج لها مع بعض. اذا عمل هو انساني حقيقه يتطلب في هنالك سياسه مبرمجه ممنهجه من قبل النظام خصوصا ضد العرب، صراحه خصوصا ضد العرب والاخوان يعني في كل المجالات، لا يمكن المجال ان الان نتكلم عنها لان سياسه ممنهجه مبرمجه في كل المجالات على كل الاصعده، بدءا من الحياه اليوميه، بدءا الى الاقتصاد، بدءا الى البيئه، بدءا الى مضايقه الناس من اجل يعني حقيقه طمس الهويه العربيه هناك. هذا سياسه النظام، سياسه النظام الايراني، الدوله الايرانيه، ولا اقول ان اي نظام بعينه، هذه السياسه بدات انا قلت منذ 1925 الى يومنا هذا وساريه، ولذلك النظام الايراني يحاول بكل حاله يغير الحاله الديموغرافيه في منطقه الاحواز من اجل حتى يغض النظر ويتم يعني ذبح الاحوازيين بدم بارد. لهذا السبب ايران يحاول هو الان يكون متواجد في سوريا، متواجد في لبنان، متواجد في اليمن من اجل الحفاظ على الاحواز، لانها بالنسبه لايران منطقه حيويه صراحه. ولكن في هنالك شعب 10 ملايين نسمه يا اختي، 10 ملايين نسمه كلهم الفقر، الادمان، السياسه التطهير العرقي بكل انواعها موجوده هناك. يعني النظام الايراني هذه سياساته في كل الاصعده، لا يمكن ان نتمنى انه في هنالك يعني ندوات نحضر ونتكلم حول المعاناه، كل واحد من عندنا بامكانه يخصص له مجال البيئه، واحد يتكلم عن يعني الوضع السياسي، واحد يتكلم عن الامراض، واحد يتكلم عن حتى سياسه هذه الاسلحه النوويه. ايران هي اصلا يعني في هنالك يعني تصوري هذا كل النفايا النوويه هي تدفن في منطقه الاحواز، النفايا النوويه، بينما احنا عندنا ارض زراعيه هي يعني الاولى دائما بالمحاصيل الزراعيه، خصبه، ارض خصبه قابله للزراعه في كل شيء، في كل شيء. لذلك النظام الايراني ياتي بهذه النفايا النوويه يدفنها هناك بس من اجل يعني تسمم، وهذا حصلت عندنا حتى بالانهر. يعني تصوري انت يعني كل النفايا النوويه لما ما تخرج مثلا من بوشهر يجيبونها، وحصلت قبل 3 سنوات 4 سنوات جابوا هاي النفايا النوويه، وكانت في سياره محمله، السياره المحمله كانت طبعا من عندها تصور واجت داخل كل المدن والقرى الاحوازيه وخذوها وصار وتم التحتيم عنها حول هذا الموضوع. لذلك انا قلت يعني سياسه ممنهجه مثل ما اشروا الاخوه، يعني اضافوا كثير من النقاط، سياسه مبرمجه ممنهجه ضد الشعب العربي الاحواز. احنا طبعا لا نقبل بالاقليه ماينورتي صراحه، لان احنا شعب 10 ملايين نسمه، لذلك ما تطبق علينا يعني كلمه الماينورتي الاقليه، احنا شعب صراحه. فلذلك في هنالك حقيقه سياسه مبرمجه ممنهجه من قبل النظام الايراني. نتمنى من كل المؤسسات الحقوقيه انه يعني تقوم بعملها الانساني تجاه هذا الشعب المسكين وتسليط الضوء على يعني قضيتنا بصراحه، واحنا جاهزين في كل الاصعده لتوفير صور يعني تقارير في كل المجالات احنا حاضرين.
طبعا انا بس اضيف هاي النقطه يعني للتاكيد، انه ما طرقوا بيده هو ليس شعار، بل هي هناك وثائق رسميه من قبل يعني ايرانيه. على سبيل المثال الان احنا ذكرنا بعض من نقاط هذه الرساله، بعض من الادله اللي هم عن ألسنهم هم الايرانيين تكلموا عنها. هناك يعني الان في العام الماضي خامنئي اصدر قرار بتغيير التركيبه السكانيه بايران بشكل عام، لان في هناك خطه خلال 20 سنه تصل نسبه الجمعيه في ايران الى 150 مليون نسمه. ومن ضمن هذه الخطه يعني هو اشار في بنود البلد انا اتحدث انا اذكر بلد التاسع والعاشر، انه اشار في هذه البلدين التاسع والعاشر لا بد من انتقال او نقل هذه الجمعيه الى المناطق الحدوديه خاصه الى الخليج العربي، يعني هو ما يقول الخليج الفارسي يقول الى الخليج بالحدود يعني في الاحواز في المناطق الحدوديه. فكثير من هذه الجمعيه من يعني نقل الجمعيه من داخل ايران مراكز مركز ايران الى الاحواز، يعني الى مناطق الحدود بما فيها الاحواز. بالاضافه هناك وثيقه صدرت 2005 اللي اكيد سمعتوا عنها، يعني كانت نتيجتها هي انتفاضه 15 نيسان 2005، وهي كانت ترمو الى تغيير التركيبه السكانيه في الاحواز بشكل في خطه خلال 10 سنوات، يعني تتغير التركيبه السكانيه من الوضع الموجود الى ثلث ما هو عليه، يعني من خلال نقل الاحوازيه الى سائر المدن وجلب من سائر الشعوب الى الاحواز. يعني صادر من مكتب خاتمي رئيس الجمهوريه، واصور لكم نسخه منها لان قامت انتفاضه، واشرت الى في احد الرسائل اللي يعني اللي خلدوها اشرت الى هذه الانتفاضه. فهناك كثير من يعني ادله الدامغه والادله الرسميه اللي نقدر نفيدكم بها تفضلوا الاخوه. وشكرا عفوا عن الاطاله، احنا تكلمنا كثيرا، الكلام كثير والمشاكل والهموم كثيره والالام كثيره والمصيبه يعني والفاجعه اللي قاعده تحدث في الاحواز خاصه مساله البيئه، يعني فاجعه انسانيه بمعنى الكلمه. تفضل احنا نستمع اليك.
I gave you my contact details.
Yes.
Already. I just want to make sure that you all have them and to
Yeah,
you as
thank you
well.
very much. I appreciate it.
That's my contact details and that's my contact details. So I think of all the things that you've explained, I mean, some fall very clearly within the mandate of Amnesty, and some issues are clearly human rights issues, and we will be acting on them. And some issues are important, but not so much within the mandate of Amnesty. So for example, the whole environment aspect is not necessarily something we're very experts in. I think the most important thing for us is to get information. So that's why I gave you my contact details.
Yeah.
Please do share with us information. And in general also we like to check ourselves and we'd like to conduct interviews. So what's important is also that you put us in touch with people who are experiencing violations in Ahwaz, so that we are able to respond. I mean, clearly on torture, fair trial, death penalty, we will always prioritize these issues because it's really the core of what we do. But we're also very interested in understanding better how the discrimination works.
Sure.
So the denial of cultural rights, we're interested, but for example, when you talk about high rate of employment, it's important for us to understand really how the Ahwazi community is being discriminated. What are the mechanisms? Is it by law? Is it in practice? Because we need to be able to unpack the issues. We, of course, we follow issues around demonstrations, if there are arrests, if peaceful protesters are not allowed to hold protests. But as I said, the most important for us is to get the information, really, the factual information. And so you have my email. I'll put you in touch as well with my colleagues who work on Iran. And I really appreciate all the difficulties you're facing. And I think you've seen a few years ago we did a report only on Ahwazis.
That's not distributed highly with all the NGOs about.
And I think we're very minorities,
Yeah.
not minorities, I said 10 million and your people.
Yeah, ليش؟ أحواز ليش؟
We're very aware of that, be it national or ethnic groups, but also religious groups who are also facing discrimination. In this regard, I also have one question for you. It's like, according to the reports we've been receiving, some ahwazis are converting to Sunni,
Yeah.
and then they're particularly exposed as well. So if you have any information on this,
Yes.
and the information is really twofold. One is, I guess the Iranian authorities really don't like these conversions.
Of course,
And-
yes, because they are Shia.
Yes, and then they would convert.
Yeah.
So we'd be interested in hearing this. If the mere fact that you're a convert makes you a target of the authority.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
I just remember now. Also, we have in Ahwaz Mandaina community. It's very big and with more than 3,000 or 4,000 years. They are described as indigenous people in Ahwaz.
Exile as well.
Yeah, they are
Exile.
hugely being discriminated by the Iranian Islamic Republic because the Iranian authority they are Shia, and those people are as a religious minority. We can describe them. They are not Muslims, but they cannot practice freely their worship. Like they go to the river where they live and they do their worship usually there. They are being discriminated badly by the Iranian authorities, and they have no freedom. And that's religious minority in our region.
I'll check with my colleagues because we're currently working on a report on religious minorities.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested in.
Yeah, this is the, by the way, this is the oldest religious in the world, you can say. The oldest religious
They
in
are
the world.
followers of St. John's. I can't remember which is St. John's, but anyway, I'm sure you have more information about these.
But I'll check with my colleagues, but I think.
Thank you.
So what I'll do is that we clearly will carefully read the letter.
Thank you.
You have my contact details,
Yes.
but I don't have yours. So feel free to email me.
No,
In general, just for you to know, because I see it's a mixed group, we tend to work most closely with human rights organizations rather than political parties. Because as you know, we try to be apolitical and impartial. So
Yeah.
while we speak with
Yeah.
everybody,
Well, I understand that, we all understand that, and the issues we represent and highlight.
to talk about our tragedy, to be honest, and we will be definitely in touch in the
Please.
future
please.
and to send you whatever you are requiring from us anyway. Thank you very much.
Thank